Tim, being a Notre Dame fan is not for the faint of heart. Notre Dame ekes out a 28-20 victory in Las Vegas against the BYU Cougars. Mike Singer and Tim Hyde here from Blue and Gold to discuss the Fighting Irish win. Notre Dame improves to 3-2 on the season. Tons to discuss here in the show. I'm going to go through all the position groups, give you all of the reaction, what's next for Notre Dame. So please stay tuned to the for the entirety of the show. If you're with us live or watching back, please hit that thumbs up on this video. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more Notre Dame football and recruiting content. And blueandgold.com is, of course, your home for all things Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So, Tim, I'll give you the floor to start this thing off. Yeah, Notre Dame coming out with the win. Dude, at this point, they don't need to be pretty. You just need to win some games, and they did that today.
Oh, yes. Yeah, just win the game. I mean, when you start 0-2, it's all about winning games, and they've won through it 3 in a row now. Jeez. They're back over the hump there now, as we've been talking the last couple of weeks in our Wednesday live shows. Like, it's a new season. You're 2-2. Wipe the slate, the slate clean. Let's get rocking. And they sure did that today. I mean, they came out a lot of energy. I mean, they played their butts off against a really good Brigham Young team. Brigham Young came out running the ball a little bit, and then obviously mixing it up with their quarterback's a stud. The guy could sling it. So, heck of a football game, man. I think my prediction was 30-20, and damn, I'm so close. It's like, kick the field goal, and I would have been right there. But great game, man. I'm like out of breath. I'm just like exciting game. Really, really happy for Marcus Freeman, the football team. This was a big one coming off a bye, coming off of, the Cal. Then UNC is just sloppy. Is Notre Dame that good? Yeah, they are. They really showed it today because they did a lot of the same things they did against Carolina, against a much, much better football team. So I'm looking forward to chit-chatting and talking with everyone here about the football game. But great effort. I mean, the fourth down stop, the Michael Mayer, Drew Pine was just, hitting some major, once again, those deep inline cuts where he hit against UNC, and he hit a couple of sweet ones. Jaden Thomas, hey, welcome to Notre Dame football. That's the guy, they talked about last year, I remember, in the Fiesta Bowl practices, how he was improving so much. So, hey, it was nice to see another wide receiver step up, and a lot of young guys played, and it's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Sorry about my hair here, folks. I just kind of noticed I look like a mess.
So good.
I was kind of pulling my hair out all game, and that's
chasing points, getting stuffed inside the 5, 2-pointers, exactly, pulling your hair out all over, because this game could have been an easily couple touchdown win, and there you are. You need a 4th and 1 stop to win it, which was awesome.
Oh man! So,
yeah, where do we go?
I don't know. Where do you want to start, Tim?
Well, hey, how about is Michael Mayer as good as we think he is? My gosh, that guy's
11 receptions, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He's
on 15 targets.
Yeah, we're gonna sit back, and where does he rank in the all-time great tight ends? And he's, obviously he's going to be up there. It's going to be nice when you look at the list, and obviously the passing stats are night and day compared to where they were back in the day. But he's fun to watch. Pass receiving, he's dominant. He just dominates the game, and the poor guy drops one ball, and they're like, oh, yeah, exactly. The guy catches 11 balls and he drops one. The one quick out where Pine just hit him right in the hands. Would have been a first down on the punt, I think, right after halftime. But Mayer's a stud. Congratulations, got the tight end record, and there's been some dudes playing tight end at Notre Dame.
I think, Tim, let's give out a game ball. I think the easy one to go with is Mayer, because he broke the record for, is it receptions all time for Notre Dame tight end? And again, he put up the numbers that you can see on the screen. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going Jaden Thomas, though. 3 targets, 3 receptions, 74 yards in that beautiful little back shoulder, touchdown where he had to come back for the ball a little bit. I mean, Goolsby always talks about you need players to step up and make plays. And Jaden Thomas did that, man. I'm giving my game ball to Jaden Thomas. What about you, Tim?
Well, as soon as he caught that, I thought of your, one of your favorite players, Joe Wilkins against Florida State, that unbelievable catch he made last year, and that was a great catch by Thomas in the deep square in that he hit as well. No, I mean, it's hard not to say, I mean, Mayer is dominant because he is, I mean, Pine looks to him so much, which obviously it's a given. And I hope maybe in this game he starts to drift because he hit Styles on a nice play as well. Thomas obviously coming through. I don't know, man. I'm going Mayer just because the dude's a stud, man. He's a stud. He dominated some of those catches, some of those plays. The second touchdown, the 19-20 yarder we're yapping about, just a great catch right there with from Pines, which is just we've always just called that XY cross where you go trips and you bring the X across, shallow, boom, and you hit the Y up top right in that corner of the end zone. And first, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I've run that play a handful of times. But great play. I thought he was awesome. And I'm sitting here just laughing inside thinking of Goolsby and a chat with him. But seriously, how do you not tip the cap, high five Drew Pine for just sitting in there slinging it? Now, me and the O-line, Mike. And
Tim, I don't want to hear this, man.
Mike, they gave him 15 seconds half the time tonight. But
Tim, they're also rushing 3 guys a lot of time. It's a team game. So Tim and I and Goolsby
was unbelievable.
We're texting throughout the game. I'm hit up Pine. They're giving me crap. The truth is definitely somewhere in the middle. But Goolsby called me the troll of the group chat, which is absolutely true. But it's like, when they're rushing 3 and he's got all time to throw and he finds Mayer across his body and on that 3rd and 13, like Pine was, I mean, he was dude's been balling. He had the pick, but I mean,
but that's not even him. That's a tip pass.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
That's just him being 5'11", and even 6'5" quarterbacks get passes tipped. It happens, but
yes.
I mean, the dude, Tim, I love him on these play action passes when you're running the ball.
Yes.
I mean, let me read you his yards. So on his completions, 9, 8, 4, 8. Okay, dink and dunk. 11, 13 yards, 24 yards, which was a touchdown. 26 yards, 9 yards, -2 on a screen. 12 yards, 11 yards, 30 yards, 7, 6, -6. I'm guessing that was another screen. 15, 13, 19, 32, 12, and 1. I mean, so it's not just dink and dunk. I mean, they're throwing the ball. I mean, him in the intermediate game was dude's balling 79% completion percentage. Tip of the cap for Drew Pine, for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at the stats right there. You got 22 for 28, and you got the screen pass. My gosh, man, they had 2 screens set up, and they got 0 tonight. So there's one. You got Mayer has a drop on one. A couple inaccurate balls by Pine. That's going to happen over the course when you're going back to, throw nearly 30 times. I thought he played outstanding. We're laughing. He got the scramble. There's another scramble. I think that's 3 straight games. He has gotten first downs from, on 3rd and short, just scrambles. Just no one respected him. Boom, going to get that. So he did some good things. And when you score, basically, they got, they missed a few shots, but they're in the 30s again today. They hit, a few things, but very efficient. I mean, it's just going back to those first 5 drives against Cal, where he was just nervous Nelly and just, scaredy cat Joe. And it was just nerves. That's what it was. It was just nerves. We hadn't seen the guy since Cincinnati last year. So ever since those first 5 drives, he has just been efficient. Tommy Reese knows what he has, and Pine is executing the game plan. And as a quarterback, that's what you want. Nothing wrong with that. What do we got here?
Yeah. Andy Davis is the big Drew Pine guy. Tim, I I'm curious this comparison. It seems like he's got a lot of Ian Book. He's not as athletic as Ian Book, but he seems to be very similar to Book, but just minus the happy feet. And maybe not as strong as arm as Book. Like Book didn't have that strong of an arm, but I'd probably still put Book's arm over Drew's. But that's kind of what it feels like. Is that a fair one?
They look like clones sometimes when you're watching them. It's like, they both look exactly the same build, the same. Yeah, Book definitely has the arm strength.
I agree with Adam's comment here for sure. Sees the middle of the field better than Book. I would agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, Book would just get happy feet and just freak out and run around, especially in the big games, against, the elite competition. He definitely did. So, no, you know what? Pine will sit in there. He has shown that the last couple of games. And it's the Notre Dame run game. The fact that they've woken up and forced teams just to load is just sell out on the run has just opened up the last couple of games. Hey, and quarterbacks, and especially this is Notre Dame. I mean, as we were texting, this is Notre Dame. You're supposed to hit 15, 20-yard deep square ends, and he hits them with efficiency. There's one pass they showed on the TV where Pine just throws it, and it is like the most perfect spiral that it was a beautiful pass. I forget which one it was that they showed it again from like the high up angle. And it was excellent. And he's doing some damn good things.
Yeah.
I think people should be excited. I think people should not be like, oh, it's this and that. So be it. He is what.
Don't read the YouTube. Don't read the YouTube live comments then.
Oh, I will. Hey, he is the Notre Dame quarterback. We're in the season now, right? This is 2022. Who cares about 5 years from now, 2 years from now? Who cares what's going to happen in January? He's the guy. So you got to rally around him, want him to do the best and have the best for Notre Dame moving forward. And you know what? Where Notre Dame is now through 5 games, where would they have been if this was the offense against Ohio State? Seriously. Dinkin and Duncan open up the run game. And that's the other thing. The run game is they're doing a lot of this with some shifts, some motions, and a lot more 11 personnel in the run game than they did earlier in the season. And it's paying dividends.
Yes, super chat from Roy Ard Clark. Might sound crazy, but we have seen crazier. Any shot Mayer returns, there's no shot.
Mayer said in a podcast over the summer when he was working out with the tight end, the NFL tight ends and all that. He said he would have went pro after his sophomore year, but he can't.
Dude, he could have gone pro after his freshman year. Seriously. I mean, Tommy Tremble was picked in the 2nd round, right? By the Panthers. Third round.
Yeah.
Better tight end,
without a doubt. And Brock Wright's on an NFL roster, and he was a free agent. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, Mayer's going. Enjoy him. We said this a couple of weeks ago. I remember you and I enjoy him because he's a stud. And yeah, I mean, he's done. He's done.
So let's talk about a couple other Notre Dame offensive position groups before we move to defense. We've talked Pine, talked a little bit of the receivers of Jaden Thomas, and then the tight ends, obviously, which I do want to mention real quick. Holden Stays. Look at. I thought he was going to be. So here, when Eli Raridan got hurt, December of his senior year, I wrote an article reporting about it, and I mentioned in the article here's the tight ends. On the roster, and I had a footnote on Holden Stays in the article and wrote that I think he's, probably a redshirt candidate. I thought he was going to redshirt. Dude's playing a lot of snaps and had a key 3rd down conversion. Obviously, the injuries at the tight end spot have played a role in him playing more, but he's definitely looked good. But Tim, the running backs, actually, let's go to the offensive line because, I mean, they were. Notre Dame totaling 496 yards, 262 through the air, and 234 through the ground. I said in our Friday video with Todd Burlage and I missed you, Tim. I said that if Notre Dame runs the ball, they're gonna win this game. I thought it would be a little bit more than 28-20, but it wasn't like BYU had a game-winning drive. I mean, I guess they kind of were in Notre Dame's territory when Adamo had that that stop, but Notre Dame did control the game, running the ball. So tell us about the offensive line, Tim.
Yeah, real quick on the tight ends, though. Stays and Raridan, those dudes don't look like 18-year-old freshmen. Their bodies and the way they play, Raridan will stick his nose in there and light you up on the run game. So they are a blast to watch. And I think they got different type of bodies, way more physical than Evans and Barong when they played last year. So, even way more than Bauman. So those two guys are going to be hard to get off the field, I think, moving forward. As far as the offensive line goes, I always chart the run game, and they were in the 60s. First half, they were 67, 68. Second half, 62% on run game efficiency, getting the yards needed per carry. So they did an outstanding job. A couple misses here and there. Pass pro was outstanding. Really, and a couple times that Pine did get hit, it was more a delay blitz from a backer. He got hit early when they were in empty and they bring 6. That's Pine has to account for that. And one time, one of the running backs whiffed on a pass pro. They played good. The run blocking was outstanding. They pulled, quite a few times today, which was nice to see Alt pull in there on that quick toss. They're good. I mean, those guys are getting together. And the other thing is, I'm trying to put my thoughts together here on the 5, but they weren't together in the spring. And the summer was a total mess, correct? Patterson gets hurt.
Right.
They go into Ohio State. They had not practiced. I mean, these last 4 games, this is, the first time they've been together for 4 straight weeks over the last year. So, and I think it's starting to show. You could tell them their communication, the way they're, when you could see helmets turning and chatting with one another, some really good communication there. And yeah, BYU is not the most dominant run defense, but there's some big dudes up there and those linebackers fly around. And as far as the run game goes, that was outstanding. On the one big run, Lug just flatbacks his guy, gave a nice crease in there as Fisher was holding his guy off. And, Estimate just breaks that thing, 40 plus yards. So it was nice. And they got to keep it going, get ready for Stanford. They just got to keep this mojo going. And as we've talked, get on this 6-game winning streak and get ready for Clemson. Hate to look forward that much, but it's right in front of them to make that night a wild night in South Bend.
Well, like we talked about Wednesday, Tim, it's the next game that's the make or break one, right? So the Stanford one is the real big one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know any scores today. I've been like off in a different world today. It seems like outside of a few of the early games and whatnot. But Stanford is just not. I mean, Stanford's got a heck of a quarterback who's going to be in the NFL. Tall wide receivers. Defensively, they should not give Notre Dame any issue. Notre Dame should go handle that business, especially with the mojo again. They've been on the road back-to-back weeks and a bye. So coming back a night game in South Bend against Stanford, that crowd better be rocking and get fired up. And Notre Dame should be pumped up, ready to go out there and just blow Stanford out. I would feel from some of the highlights I've seen from Stanford this year.
Do you have super chats? I'm so offended. Did we predict 6-6? I don't recall that.
Yeah, I mean, no one ever predicted 6-6. It was 6-6. It was definitely foreseeable when you start 0-2, and if that's the way they were going to keep playing the season. Yeah, I mean, we've been talking, 6-6 right in front of them. Of course it is. If they come out and lay an egg and whatnot. I mean, if they didn't win this game, 6-6 was definitely something that could definitely happen when you still have to play SC, Clemson, at Syracuse. Oh yeah, but this win, as we talked on Wednesday night, is a biggie because it really sets up a legitimate shot to go 9-3 and play maybe in the Gator Bowl on January 1st or whatnot. So tonight was huge. Tonight was that's a big, big football win for Coach Freeman.
I'm so offended. Ask if holding is still a rule. And
hold on. It is not on Riley Mills. I'm telling you, man. Guys, watch 99 on defense. They grab Riley Mills gets grabbed so much. It should be, just call it once a month, please, because he is getting just destroyed out there grabbing his jersey. So yeah, it's not a rule when it comes to 99 on Notre Dame's defense.
Yeah, Joey just asked, will they be ranked next week? That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, they just beat number 16 BYU. BYU was a little inflated.
And guess what? I did see right before Notre Dame started. I watched the last 90 seconds. I saw UNC beat held off Miami. So UNC's 5-1.
Yeah.
So UNC's probably going to be out there, and they just took them to the woodshed 2 weeks ago. So great question. They should be. They should be. I mean, put them at 25 and let them work their way up.
Tim, I want to talk about the Notre Dame running backs now before we move over to the defense. Audric Estime, 14 attempts for 97 yards. Logan Diggs coming out party, 17 rushes for 93 yards. Chris Tyree averaged 3.8 yards per carry. So not his best game, but still 11 carries for 42 yards. It dropped that screen pass that it would have been a big pickup. I don't see in the passing game, none of those guys really got involved. Estime had a 13-yard pitch and catch, but yeah, Tim, I kind of felt like it was a feed the hot hand kind of thing. And Diggs, he seems to have a tendency to bounce things outside a lot, but when he puts his head down, he can run through some people in the middle.
I think those are in my notes right here. Like, quit bouncing it outside. That's all he wants to do. I mean, they call it a gap, and he goes outside. Oh, wait, no, it worked on the outside runs. On a couple that he did bounce, it's like he gets swarmed down on a few. But they ran outside zone, some outside stretch with him, and he looked outstanding. So really, really good game for him. I thought he showed some physicality at the end of the runs as well, blowing into some, the BYU defenders there. And Audric is just, I would love to go and look at the quarters because I don't even think he had a carry in the first quarter. If he did,
talking about Audric?
Yeah, may have just been one because I didn't even notice him once again. It's like, dude, feed this guy.
2 carries.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, but it was just like he was in and out, in then out. It was you didn't really see him that much, and then he gets going once he gets going. But
I think that was the same in the last game as well.
Carolina.
Yeah. Let's go with Tyree, or it was Diggs against North Carolina, right? Who really got going. So it's like, let's save Estime more for, later in the game, get the other guys going.
Same in the Cal, with Estime got going in that. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely working. No doubt about it. Cause when he comes in, man, he's got, I know he got stuffed on that 4th and 1 down there, but BYU had 2 dudes sitting right in there, just waiting for him to fill. That was a great play by those guys down there, but overall outstanding football game by him. He just keeps getting better. Only he's basically a redshirt freshman, what did he play? Garbage time against Georgia Tech last year was it. So nice, but really, really good game to see Diggs come out and just play. I thought with some physicality on his runs where he bounces outside. God, he loves to run outside. But, but that was Tyree really as well. So, and Tyree, I think like you said, 11 carries. Hey, they did give him some opportunities. He got swarmed down a little bit. Yeah, the screens were just a killer for him, right? Like, the one he drops, he's running because there's one dude out there that he would have broke. So, as life goes, great overall. What they have 500 yards, Mike? You said
494.
Yeah, that's
496. Yeah,
500 yards after almost getting 600 last week.
You know what, Tim? I thought this game was going to hit the over 51 for sure. I look wrong. I look like an idiot, but that's okay.
51,
not the first time. Yeah, I was over under 51. I was like, I thought it was going to be like 60 points.
But just look at that.
Not the first time I've been wrong.
But it is, if Notre Dame kicks the field goal, right, or the PAT, dude, Vegas knows what they're doing sometimes, don't they? They're sitting right there at 48.
Super chat, Tim. So let's talk about the defense. Andrew, definitely appreciate the super chat. I don't get this.
What's that?
Wow. I mean, look, it's a 4-quarter game, right? When Drew Pine stunk it up against Cal in that first quarter, why is that all people want to talk about? Let's talk about the entire game because he was good the rest of the 3 quarters. If I would have told you before the game, Andrew and Notre Dame fans, that BYU would score 20 points, be freaking up in arms, and the defense scored 2 points for Notre Dame.
Exactly.
So I'm like, let's look at the entirety of the game. BYU scored 20 points.
Yeah.
That's really good. I mean, that's the number 16 team in the country. Jaron Hall's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Notre Dame picked him off on the first play. I mean, they're making stops.
They sack him for a safety, like you said. Yeah.
BYU had 4 possessions in the second half. Touchdown. They got things rolling, right? 3 and out. And then Jason Animal stops them on down. So it's like, BYU got rolling in the second half, but of course they were going to get rolling at some point. So I'm
no, pull up the drive chart, Mike. Pull up the drive chart.
I got it ready.
Yeah, for Brigham Young, because you're right, because it is a 4-quarter game. Notre Dame, as frustrating as it is, hey, we're all frustrated because once again they gave up another 90-yard drive. I know it was 90 after the sack that Prince Collie, when he swarmed him down, pushed him back. So that's frustrating to see back-to-back drives there. Over 70 yards. It's frustrating. But then look at the rest of the drives. My prediction was Brigham Young 20. I thought they would score 20. That quarterback is legit. Their offensive line is huge. Huge offensive line. They got some athletes, and they came out, ran the ball. They had a couple 10, 15-yard runs. They looked physical. And Notre Dame made some nice plays. Forced Hall into some errant passes, some nice pressures as well. It was a good, solid overall game when you look at the 20 points over 60 minutes with an NFL quarterback. That guy's going to play in the NFL. That guy could sling it. He's got a beautiful arm. And you could just, every time they kept showing him on the TV, he's really composed. He's just always talking, communicating, keeping guys motivated. And you made a great point right there, Mike, where, of course, Brigham Young is going to come back. These dudes are experienced. They have a head coach that has built a program into winning. They're used to playing Power 5 teams every week nearly. So these are not like, oh, my God, we're down against Notre Dame. No, these guys were rallied. They came out of halftime, probably a little ticked off that they'd only had one touchdown, and they came out and they got a couple good rallies there, and a great drive. And should we talk about Mickey getting torched on the one? But
I think it seemed like miscommunication more than anything, right, Tim? He slipped a little bit.
No, you know what? There were rolling coverages, but to me it looked like Mickey just paused. It looked like he was trying to jump. He was thinking a quick out route. I watched it a couple times, and he paused. You could see his feet stop, trying to think he was going to run an out route or whatnot. So I think he thought he had true free safety help, because Houston Griffith just rolls all the way over to the other side, which was odd, being the free safety on that play, because they didn't have any other safeties. So, but that wide receiver as fast as could be. So yeah, you hold Brigham Young, who's a top 20 football team, to 20 points. Hey, take it, especially where Notre Dame is right now, man.
You guys can all see Roy Bard Clark's super chat on the screen. Sure. It's football. Things happen. Yes. Missed tackles, momentum, it just happens. The Notre Dame defense was good. They weren't perfect. If you want Notre Dame to win 98-0 every game, that's not realistic. It's just football.
That comment's true. It's frustrating. You give up a huge run on 3rd and 15, 17. You have no linebackers in there, or Bertrand's 20 yards deep. Hey, they hit a great play. It's a great, give credit to Brigham Young, man. They ran an inside zone for 20 yards on 3rd and long. Where Notre Dame's like, hey, they're going to try and sling it with Hall. And Brigham Young was just trying to survive. Hey, let's punt this thing out of here and get ready for our next series. And instead they got the mojo, but they're a damn good football team. They're allowed to get some mojo. Notre Dame was not going to beat these guys 42-3. No way.
Appreciate the super chat, Dennis. Notre Dame showing up on 3 straight wins. Yep. Tim, so let's talk about the defensive line, because Jacob Lacey announces Thursday that he's transferring from Notre Dame, and the consensus is, okay, he's played in 4 games. He's not happy about his playing time. He saves a year of eligibility, and still has 2 more years to play. And then Howard Cross is out for, don't know why at the time of recording. I'll check to see if Freeman gave any reasons for that. But here's the tweet. From our blue and gold reporter, Tyler Horka, says, Marcus Freeman says Howard Cross had a high ankle sprain, tested it pregame, feel like he couldn't give it a go. So it's kind of ironic for Jacob Lacey's, the transfer, because he's not playing, and he would have been a key part to the Notre Dame defense tonight. So Irish are without 2 of their top interior defensive linemen, and it showed in the second half, Tim.
Oh yeah, they're playing, Smith and Rubio, 100 snaps it felt like tonight, and those guys have been getting 4 to 8 a game, a little bit here and there. So they're asked to go up there against a huge offensive line. Bunch of, a couple of those guys are, getting NFL grades out there. So no, yeah, it's, I know I texted you, I went back. It's funny, during one of the commercials, I went back 2 series. I'm like, where's number 57? Because, I noticed that instantly, they're really
56.
missing him. What's that?
56.
Is he 50? Yeah. 57's Adamiola, my fault. And I really noticed that a bunch. So, and even Foskey, I'm curious to see his snaps. It seemed like he was in and out a rotation thing as well a bunch, but after playing a ton of snaps the last 2 games, so curious to see what those snaps are. But yeah, Lacey's not there. It hurts them in the depth, but Rubio's going to be here next year, and they're going to play him a ton. Cross will be back next year for a 5th year. It was nice to see Rubio, big old number 97, out there running around a ton. And Chris Smith, I mentioned him after the Ohio State and a little in the Marshall game where, that guy's been playing some really good football for Notre Dame. So he's been giving them exactly what they need. So, which is that big, thick presence inside.
Tim, I'm a little bit scared to hear what Mike Goolsby has to say about the linebackers tomorrow, because I know it's not going to be family friendly. Let's just put it that way.
Man,
Jack Kaiser made a play, right?
Yes.
Goolsby 101, make freaking plays. So he made a play, gave Notre Dame 2 points.
Yep.
But here's the starting linebackers. Jack Kaiser, 4 tackles, had the sack. That was nice. Forced fumble as well. Maris Leafau, 2 assisted tackles.
2 assists.
Bo Bauer, 1 tackle.
Yeah, and the Bauer thing is, I think it's more of an injury because he just, he hasn't played a lot this year. He really hasn't. And remember when he blocked the punt against Marshall, he's holding his shoulder, and he didn't play a lot in the Ohio State game. I think he's just been banged up. Okay. I don't think nothing's ever been reported because he's a captain and he's playing special teams. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's just got his whole body wrapped up and he goes and gives him a few snaps. And I think he only played that first half because of, JD Bertrand was out. But yeah, the linebackers, man, it's, what, we've talked about this a lot this year. And I know Goolsby loves talking about this on Sunday nights. They just don't attack. They don't fill unless they're blitzed. And it's so noticeable. They did not run a ton of blitzes tonight. And BYU gashed him on some inside runs because just Notre Dame doesn't fill. Maris Leafau will not fill unless you blitz him. And it is noticeable. It's frustrating. There's a few your standard 6-yard inside zone, and Leafau will go around a block. Yet when you see number 10 in there, man, he sure does seem to just fly to the ball, play a little bit more physical, and he's just got a truer sense to the football. Talking about Prince Colley to the ball sometimes. And he's a sophomore, and I hope he gets more reps because he's going to be here next year. And I hope they start to think of some of these things moving forward for some guys that earn it. Look at Colley with his stats. He played probably a dozen snaps, and his stats are right there.
Yep, had a sack.
Compared to guys playing 50, 60 snaps. So it's frustrating, and it was not good. That 1 touchdown run, my Lord. Who is that? Bertrand just it was like a bowling ball. So just not good football out there. It's not. The linebackers have been average, I think, all year, and a lot of the film shows that.
So Colley had 2 tackles, then Bertrand, who missed the first half due to the targeting. In the North Carolina game with 5 total. So 5.5 is good, but overall.
Yeah. Bertrand does. He's a tackling guy. That guy plays hard as could be, but man, he is just. Goolsby talks about it all the time because he met him during the spring. How just small he is, and he gets engulfed in there with those big guys sometime. And Notre Dame is not massive inside now. They're not that big as far as eating up, blockers and being big space eaters in there for backers to run. It's. They don't have those big giant bodies in there, so they're going to get gashed at times, and they definitely did today. But you held a damn good football team to 20 points, and as frustrating as it was, I love your point there, Mike. Like, you held a ranked team to 20 points, so it's pretty good defense when you look at 60 minutes.
I feel like you agree with me a lot more when we were doing the show than you do.
I wasn't disagreeing on defense. I was frustrated. I was frustrated just like that poster as well. Like, giving up 90 yards. It's every game, Mike. Every game they give up one of these. It's like, guys, focus in. Like you just mentioned, JD Mickey, you thought it was miscommunication. Okay, this is game 5. Mickey was here in the spring. Are they really putting in that many new things? I'm sure the same type of blitzes, the same type of bracket coverages, or when they're in dime and Mickey's the extra DB out there at times. there's no way they're doing a ton of new stuff. They're not, and they just played Drake May. They've played Stroud, so they've seen NFL quarterbacks. So that's what's so frustrating. Where like guys lock in and lock into some of these things, because if they do this a handful of times, this is a defense that could be in the mid-teens when it comes to nationally ranked points per game. They're that close.
In the secondary, Tim, some good and some bad. I mean, I want to pull up for folks, see the halftime stats. Look at Jared Hall. 3 for 8, 11 yards, touchdown in the pick. So credit to Bracey on the pick. I mean, I don't know what Hall was doing there. But that was still Bracey made a play. Lewis should have had a pick 6. Brandon Joseph was Notre Dame's leading tackler, had a forced fumble. I would say it was fine. The secondary was fine. I would C+, B-, something like that. It was fine.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, you're right. It was fine. It was, it was solid. They did a good job early on. Frustrated him. He got hot because this dude's going to be making millions here in sometime next year. He's a heck of a quarterback. Yeah, great memory on the Clarence Lewis. Holy moly, buddy! You want to talk about making a play? That thing is just floated up there to you. But at the same time, Notre Dame. I mean, these are Notre Dame DBs. They are athletic. They are some dudes. They should be flying around. These Brigham Young guys, and especially moving forward with some of these teams they are playing, they should go out there and lock it up and play their tails off. So I thought Hart did some good things. You saw Morrison. It's funny. There was one play where, one of the older guys, I think it was Hart, had to pull Morrison away because he was just like so hyped up and starting to talk a little bit of smack out there with the BYU guys. I thought that was nice. So, hey, once again, we're going to just stick to that talking point, right? You held them to 20 points. You did get an interception. We still don't get a lot of breaks on the balls, right? You still don't get any tips, where you're just around it outside of the Lewis where he drops. I guess that's a pass breakup, right? As we always say to the guys, hey, on defense, if you drop it, it's a pass breakup. So there's pad your stats. Did they even give Lewis? Yeah, they did give Lewis the pass breakup. But, hey, it is what it is, right? But that's one position I definitely want to go back and see how Notre Dame did against some of those passes, especially some of the third down ones. What? Oh, real quick, because that was one of my mental keys I wrote down myself was third. I want to see. Do you have Notre Dame's third down? Put up the stats, because Notre Dame. I don't have the. It's right here. Hold on.
11-16, Tim.
Yeah. Going into the game, check this out. Going into the game, I wrote here on the blue and gold little cheat sheets that you email out to everyone is Notre Dame was 35%, Brigham Young 35%, offense, defense. So definitely, the same going in, which I thought that was fascinating. And I know Notre Dame was just, look at 11 for 16. That is awesome. Awesome offensive, efficiency right there on third down, which was some big passes by Drew Pine.
For folks wondering about Tariq Bracey's injury, I haven't seen anything yet, and I'm doing the live show right now, so I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I'm gonna focus on the show here, but
could be another ankle. Or
Tim, what about the time of possession? Notre Dame doubling up BYU.
That's the key. Is how many carries? Where's the carries? It's the carries. What, they were in the 40s, right?
45.
Yeah, I mean the carries. When Notre Dame plays a ranked team and they get in the 40s, they win 90+% of the time. That's the key. Just chewing up the clock. And Notre Dame, they did a little bit of tempo in the first half. They came out and ran some tempo early in the thing. So when they get a nice play on first down, they love to run real fast on second down. Other than that, that second half, just chewing it up. And that's that. I think that's the key when you're playing these future NFL quarterbacks is limit their possessions, kill the clock, run the football, be the dominant team out there when it comes to the offensive line. And that's what they did. I mean, 40 to 20 is just freakish. I mean, that is some damn good football playing right there.
Tim, I'll let you take this one.
How difficult is it for Notre Dame to negotiate? What's that? Some decent commentary. Yeah,
I'm coming off the track. I'm going to get myself in trouble. I'm leaving. This is all you.
Hey, thank you for the super chat. love you tons and all that. Thank you so much. But literally, yeah, the cheerleader commentary, I'll be honest with you, Mike and I have talked about this. We talked about this on one of our Wednesday live shows. I'm watching the football game. I'm rewinding the football game. I'm checking out a couple plays. I'm taking some notes. For me, I always go back and, during the rewatch and listen to some of this stuff. But yeah, I when I'm watching it live and I'm getting ready to chat with you guys and Mike and I at night, it's it goes one ear out the other, so to speak. I'm a crowd guy. I love to listen to the crowd. So the louder the crowd is, the better I love the game.
I just don't care.
Yeah,
I said this on our board because people are complaining about it. Jason Garrett is just the most basic color guy. He's not super interesting. He's not boring. He just commentates on the game. The guy will forget more football than all of us will ever know. So it's like he's got the pedigree. He's not super interesting. He's very fair, like both ways. Like it's the most non-topic, but all I can't believe we haven't talked about Tobias Merriweather yet, because it seems like every show we're talking about Tobias Merriweather and Jason Garrett.
He did get in on one of the plays there. I saw him run. I think it was on Holden Stays' catch. He ran. Yeah. He was running a route, which looked like the same play that Thomas scored on, which was the push fade. Thomas is the slot, and he bends out and runs the fade from that position using the sideline, and the outside receiver runs just a little hitch. It looked like the same play, and on that they hit Holden Stays while Merriweather was running the push fade, and they came back to that later and hit Thomas for the touchdown. But real quick, real quick on the commentary. I mean, there's no Notre Dame bashing out there. He's praising Reese for game planning around Drew Pine. He's given Pine tons of credit the way he was hitting some of the routes. He's loving up Mayer, talking about future NFL with him. And I mean, gosh, Mike, they even did a little 30 seconds on Joe Alt talking about how NFL scouts are already talking about Alt. And Jason Garrett talked about his dad, how he's known his dad for so long and whatnot. So
I love that story about Jason Adamalola. That was pretty cool.
Yes. There's good stories. So it's like, once again, I'm not concentrating on it. I hear certain things and whatnot, but it's like, I'm watching the game and I'm rooting for Notre Dame, and let's go get a big win and try and get to the best bowl game there is. So I want Notre Dame to be 6-2, so we have a blast for the Clemson game.
Tim, it's kind of a moot point because Notre Dame won, but the decision to go for 2 early in the game, I think, was dumb. And it's one of those things, like, when they're like, there's a missed extra point by BYU there, and you're like, you just know that's going to come back and be a big thing. It's just one of those things. Like, why? If Notre Dame doesn't go for 2 and they kick the field goal, they're up 29-20. The game's over. Yeah. And you go for it. Just, I think they wanted to get to 30-20 for you, Tim.
I think so.
They watched the Friday show and heard me say your prediction. Other than that, it doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it's the chasing points, and it's I don't understand. I'm a big fan of, hey man, you take as many points as you can. You don't worry about stuff until you need to worry about stuff. And Notre Dame was in such control. Sure, Mayer's right there, and they just missed him. So you're a millimeter away from making it happen. But what's the point? It's the same thing. You get a point there and you kick the field goal instead of trying to ram it in, and BYU's got 15 guys in the B gap stuffing you. I mean, there's 4 points right there. This game's a walk away, and you don't have to have stressful at the end. And there's no need to start chasing points in the second quarter. It's like, just kick points, go play football. Hey, because for all the Notre Dame fans out there, like I texted you, it felt like 2015 Clemson, where Brian Kelly's going for 2s all the time, and guess what? It bit him in the butt right at the end. Had he just done PATs, Notre Dame's in overtime in that game.
Folks, we're going to go about 10, 15 more minutes. So if you have any questions, drop super chats, and we will get to it right away. And please do hit the thumbs up on this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get all of our Notre Dame football and recruiting content. Tim, and my last note I wrote down was balanced rushing attack, fed the hot hand, which we talked about earlier. Thought Diggs was really good. Thank you, Lance Taylor, I wrote down, because that 3-headed rushing attack, Lance Taylor recruits Chris Tyree, Audric Estime, Logan Diggs. Taylor's now, Louisville's offensive coordinator. But it's such a good running back room. And how good is Estime, man? I mean, what was it, that 46-yard run where it looked like it was going to be a 3 or 4-yard run? And then Diggs, Tim, I want to read your text so everyone can.
No, I'm looking up because you're talking Taylor, and I know they've been on the hot seat. Louisville pulled out the win
Tim
today.
said,
Kudos.
Tim says, BYU's getting the ball, and then dropped an expletive, I won't say. And then I texted, freezing cold take by Tim, because on the next play, Diggs runs for 33 yards and ices the game. I mean, you got to feel really good about this running back room.
Oh my God, because that's the thing is Notre Dame. Someone said great calls for chasing points. Yeah, I mean you didn't have to. Had you just played regular football, you wouldn't have to be in that situation. Exactly. Leg gets the holding call. Oh my God, I got to get my tie on. My wife's watching it. I was like, I'm running upstairs. I was like, I don't want to watch this next play. I run up here, turn on the laptop, come downstairs. I was like, oh my, freezing hot take. Yeah. Freezing cold take, excuse me. And man, what a run. What a run by a Diggs. That was awesome.
All right, D3GA says, what grade are you giving Freeman in his first game? His first, let's say this season.
Sure, this season.
And leave out the Oklahoma State game. What grade would you give him, Tim?
He's 3-2, right? Yeah, one of my favorite coaches of all time is Bill Parcells. You are who you are. I mean, they played their butts off against Ohio State. They faltered in the fourth quarter. The ultimate hangover game. That's what Marshall is, because Marshall has lost multiple games since they beat Notre Dame. So it was a hangover game. They played like it. They played sloppy. They kept them in the game. They didn't hit big plays. They wanted to go vertical, take shots. They didn't hit on any of those in the Marshall game. They let a MAC Sunbelt team, whatever Marshall's at now this year, hang around, and they pulled the upset. And since then, you know what? Marcus Freeman's regrouped, and he's rallied his football team against 3 straight
Power 5 teams. What's your grade?
Oh, he's not C+.
I was gonna say C.
Yeah, I'll give him a C+ because of the way they have responded since Marshall.
Yeah,
I mean, you beat Cal, UNC, and obviously BYU is a Big 12 team next year. So you got 3 straight Power 5 teams, and he's beating them, and 2 of them on the road.
BYU's an independent, Tim.
Yeah, Big 12
next year.
I'm already giving it to him.
Yeah, I always include Notre Dame as a Power 5. I mean, come on.
Exactly. PFF doesn't, I guess, when they post things sometimes, right? It's like, do you not look at Notre Dame stats?
I'm going C. Just the Marshall is just such a bad loss. Like, that's a loss you're going to talk about for years,
But at the same time, all right, let's take out the Marshall game. All the other games,
you can't.
Oh, no, of course you can't. Of course you can't. I mean, that thing is going to be there, all right? Marshall's already got a statue being built, I bet, for that game. But you take that out, the other 4 games have played exactly as should be, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody picked Ohio State. The entire national media, all right? Come on. So they just played their butts off until the fourth quarter. And then the other games they're expected to win, and they've beaten them. So this game was supposed to be a tight game. Notre Dame got up early, had a nice, comfortable 3-score lead, and still won by 8 points. So they covered. What was the spread? 3.5, right? So Notre Dame, 4 exactly. So Notre Dame doubled the coverage there. So hey, take out the worst loss in ages. There's no doubt. You can't sugarcoat that. They are where they are. They'll beat Stanford. They got UNLV that looked like the JUCO team I called them against San Jose State, and then you got to go to the Carrier Dome. So, speaking of that, what happened? I think they have a bye. I'm thinking of Syracuse. I think they have Clemson, NC State back to back before Notre Dame. Okay. So that's
a super chat from Rene Martinez, and then he asked his question. What do you think about Tommy Rees now? I'm a believer, love Tommy as a player, and was at the game tonight. Go Irish!
Nice.
I mean, from everything that people were tweeting out, the atmosphere looked fantastic. And Marcus Freeman in his postgame press conference said it felt like a true home game. Look, I've been saying, if it was the vocal, whether it's a minority or majority, whatever, but the vocal folks in the Notre Dame community on our message board at blueandgold.com, please do head to the site and check out our coverage. between those folks and our YouTube comments, Reese would have been fired, after the first 3 and out against Ohio State. But I think he's been really damn good this season. And this is coming from someone who has not been a big fan of Tommy Reese. I think that he has done an excellent job. I didn't, love the Marshall game with Buckner, but I mean, these last 3 games under Pine, things have been really rolling.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's, you know what? It's some reflection. I think he probably sat back with the coaches and it's like, all right, guys, we're 0-2. Our starting quarterback's out, who, we handpicked basically probably since last, December. They knew that's who they wanted, especially after spring and whatnot. And he gets hurt and they're like, okay, we got Drew Pine. These are the 8 things he does, and let's go build our game plan around him. And that's exactly what they've done. They've tried doing nothing other than what he can do. Play action, couple of the little rollouts, couple of the little boots, the quick dumps. Now the last 2, we didn't see this really too much in the Cal, right? The last 2 games, he's starting to hit those intermediate to me, those 15 to 25 yarders, those sweet ones. Hey, speaking of the Mare, the touchdown, the first touchdown to Mare is the exact same play as the Cal game that he overthrew Mare 10 yards. Remember where Mare does the out and boom, bends it straight up the seam, the same pass play that he hit him perfectly today for a touchdown. So Tommy Reese, I know people want to complain because, Notre Dame lost a couple games. Some of those games were not on Reese. They didn't make any plays in the Marshall game. I've gone and watched the Marshall game 3-4 times, as frustrating as it is, and they just didn't hit plays. They have dudes open. You got to make football plays at times, and they didn't. And the last few games since, once again, those 5 series to start the Cal game, Reese, those were all on Reese. He was nervous. He missed dudes wide open. A couple drop. Styles had a bad drop. Some bad balls overall. Since then, this team has just said, you know what? We know who we are, and they are playing like it. And kudos to Tommy Reese for as much bashing people like to do to him. The guy has rallied this football team. He really has on offense. And once again, you watch them. They had some new formations today. They did pistol a ton today, which they hadn't shown. 2-back pistol. Looked like the old Nevada Wolfpack offense with Colin Kaepernick. They were unbelievable motioning guys. They weren't awesome when they came to Notre Dame and Kaepernick got shut out, but that was a long time ago. But
I loved Boise back in those days.
Yeah,
and
they had wars with Nevada.
And Nevada won a good one. I think it was 2010, 2011 when Boise was undefeated. Yeah.
No, exactly. And they came out and they came out in some new sets there. Raritan played a ton today. They're using him. They did which was interesting because I was a little bit surprised how much Raritan was in there. Not only him, but Stays played wide receiver today about 3-4 snaps where I'm like, oh, they're in looks like 11 personnel. And you're like, oh no, that Stays out there. Stays was played outside wide receiver a handful today. So they were going 12 personnel and spreading them, going 4 wides with 2 tight ends and making guys having to cover those. And that's scheming. That's taking advantage, which goes back to our favorite topic of backup wide receivers. Obviously, these backup wide receivers just aren't getting it done at practice. Something's not they're not, right? They're not clicking. Even Freeman, when Marcus Freeman gets asked the question about, Colsey, Wilkins, and Merriweather, what's Freeman's response? Have them go talk to the coach, right? It's like, obviously, they're not playing for a reason, fellas. But the press, the South Bend press, man, they love to pound this thing about the backup guys. And Freeman's like, yeah, they're not. We're playing the best guys. And it was totally noticeable today. So they have a bye week. They've been busting their butt the last 4 weeks, have training camp, and you got 2 freshman tight ends that just showed up, Mike, right in the middle of June.
Yeah.
The middle of June. And they're learning it, and they're getting all the things down, and they're playing. So I don't think we should be complaining about those that aren't. Let's give kudos to those that have learned it in a short amount of time, just like Benjamin Morrison on the defense.
All right, I got 3 things. 1, Gene Brown, we appreciate you for the super chat and love what we're doing. And I think I need to just I'm getting really kind of self-conscious about my hair here sticking up. So I'm just going to go this way, show my good side here. And then Tim, as you were going on that discussion there, I was laughing because I was reading this comment.
We got.
I totally disagree. I think Reese is making calls at pivotal times that are also awful. I kind of hate him. That's gold. I kind of hate him.
That must be his college girlfriend his sophomore year. I mean, I have no idea. So,
right.
I mean, what is he calling that? It's once again, hey, we'll talk as we know, Mike. We love to talk. We'll debate anything. If there's a certain play call that you don't like.
I was texting you guys, obviously. That's what we do. We really need to make this like a chat where people pay to get in and, you get to be in the group chat. That would be something. But I didn't like was it the 3rd and 1 and then they settle for the punt? I mean, you have the little bunch with Mayer, Matt Salerno.
Yeah.
Who, of course, they're not going to throw the ball to Matt Salerno.
I know.
And Braden Lindsey. Braden Lindsey, how many targets did he have? One?
He caught a pass. He got the little hitch pass.
And then they motion Mayer. Obviously, they're going to try to scheme to. I mean, that was the most obvious thing in the world. I mean, at least put them. Anyone else? Those are the 2 players that you're obviously not going to throw the ball to. Maybe Eli Rare, they're not going to either. It's like, so I just like to explain to folks that in the game of football, you can do something wrong, but still be really good.
Yeah.
Tommy Rees calling one bad play doesn't make him a bad play caller. Someone missing a tackle doesn't make them a bad tackler. These things, it just happens. This is part of the game. It's not perfect, but
no, it's not perfect. I mean, we're talking about the offensive line. Patterson got beat early. There's a couple run stuffs where he gets beat early. Guy just crosses his face. He doesn't block him. The interception. First rule of the offensive lineman is make sure those guys don't get their hands up when he's stoning that guy, stuffing that guy. Guy gets his hands up for the interception. Blake Fisher looked sloppy on 1 or 2 plays today, just a little bit where he looked like a little miscommunication issues. When he down blocks, he's a stud. Joel, if I go back and grade him, I bet you he's going to be 95%. He was that good except for 1 play. On the 2-point play, the guy put a swim move on him so good and beat Joel, which how the heck are you swimming a guy 6'7", 6'8"? So kudos to that, but that's a Brigham Young guy who made a heck of a play. That's the only time I saw Joel have a bad play. So yeah, the third down screen pass, those are the things that are frustrating. And speaking, probably for the fan base out there that are watching is throw in Merriweather or put Raritan. That's I know Goolsby and I have been talking a ton like, dude, put Raritan out there as the X receiver, meaning the boundary singled up, and let his 6'7", 6'8" frame go catch a lob pass instead of your little dinky motion to Mayer where 6 BYU guys shift to it and stuff it.
Tim, we can't say that about Raritan, but not say it also for Merriweather.
Oh, I know. I mentioned that with Merriweather. Put him out there if you want to do it, but Raritan more so because he's playing more now the last couple of weeks. Yeah. So he has definitely earned the trust of this coaching staff, where we're going to keep seeing his reps tick, 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 tick up to where he's probably going to be in the 40s when it comes to playing time. 40, reps a game. I wouldn't be surprised. He is athletic. That dude who just blew out his knee dunking on people, back in January? Is that when he got hurt?
It's December.
Right December. Okay. I mean, by the way, his basketball film was freakish. I remember you texted me like, watch this, Tim. It's like, holy moly. So for him to do that in such short order, man, what a hell of an athlete that kid is.
Wicked Bronco Productions, love you, man. Appreciate the super chat, and you guys can see his take there on the screen. Tim, I want to discuss Drew Pine to kind of end the show here.
Sure.
Tweet from Tyler Horka, and Tim, I know you love Horka's.
Horka loves Pine. He loves Pine more than you. I love it.
But I mean, just. No, is there anything wrong in this tweet?
No.
This is the face of a man who is undefeated as the starting quarterback for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Yes. Very true. He's taking care of the football too. He had the tip pass interception tonight, but
that's a tip. Man.
Made him exactly. There's nothing really you could do about that. In 3 starts, Drew Pine is completing 74% of his passes, 63 of 85, 701 yards, 8 touchdown passes, 1 pick.
Now tell Tyler to take out the stats from those first 5 drives. What is he now? About 82%? I mean, no, it's and that's going back to people.
Tim,
that's go ahead.
I want to phrase it. I want to go with a question for you.
Oh, gotcha.
What does this man need to do to gain like more respect? Does the offensive line need to give him no time and the receivers just not get open and he just needs to pinpoint Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady passes while stiff arming people and throwing it with his left hand and then doing a backflip before he throws? Like, what does he need to do to get more respect? Because the guy is balling. Like, he is playing to the full potential of his God-given ability.
Okay. He is. Exactly. He is. And I mean, I don't know what the respect is. What national respect? I mean, he's not going to get national respect throwing for 230 yards a game. Those aren't big national numbers. 74%. Yes, he should be at. See, this is my take. He should be at 74% because that's what the game plan is. The game plan are quick passes. I know you showed up the chart earlier on some of those. He doesn't throw the ball down the field a heck of a lot because that's not the game plan, and that's fine.
Also, who the heck is he going to throw downfield to?
Exactly. So he is executing the game plan. I have no issues with Drew Pine, who's completing 74% of his passes. You could say he's dinking and dunking, but then he's gone up top and hit a couple 30-yarders. He has. I don't know where the respect. Whoever thinks he's being disrespected, Drew Pine is who he is. He is. I mean, that's probably a corny statement to say, but he's not a gunslinger. He's not going to sit back there and
playing better.
He's not Caleb Williams. He ain't going to look like Caleb Williams. He ain't going to play like Caleb Williams, but he is going to throw a lot of short routes, and that's what he does. That's the game plan, because that's what – I mean, if he could throw the ball on corner routes 25 yards to the field on dimes, they would be doing it. They don't do that. So 74% is awesome for him for what they've asked him to do, which is what he can do. I truly believe Reese is calling damn good football games for Drew Pine. Is he going to be the Heisman Trophy? I mean, when you talk, I don't understand. I mean, he's 3-0, what the respect is, but
you're not keeping the same energy that you do in our group chat. That's all I'm saying, Tim.
I was not ripping Drew Pine today. I did not rip Drew Pine.
I mean, on the touchdown pass, you're just talking about the offensive line. I'm like, the dude dropped a dime, and you're like, 19 yards.
But that's the other thing. Hey, I'm going to talk as a Notre Dame guy, talking to all the Notre Dame fans in this thing. This is Notre Dame football. Notre Dame quarterback should be able to throw a 20-yard square in, and that's what he's doing. So he's not doing nothing extraordinary out of the ordinary. He's not doing – I mean, he's doing the same things Jack Cohn did. He's doing a lot of the same things Ian Book did. I mean, he's not Brady Quinn where he's going to take off and run 60 yards against SC, or, Jimmy Clausen, who could throw ropes all over the field. But Jimmy had Golden Tate. He had Michael Floyd. He doesn't have those, which I totally agree with you, Mike. The wide receivers are – Holden Stays had as many catches today as Brendan Lindsay, who has started every game for the last 2 seasons. That's what Drew Pine's doing, and he's got the best tight end in America, and he's going to throw to him.
All right. Okay.
I'm not – hey – I'm sticking. I will stick up for Pine because he's doing a hell of a job. So I haven't been reading. Is there a bunch of, if people are attacking Pine, what are you going to attack Pine for?
No, it's not YouTube. Just want to see what you had to say before we got out of here.
See, there you go. This guy says Pine is maximizing the offense, which goes back to Reese. And if people want to upset the Tommy Reese, hey, welcome to America, right? We love to complain and cheer. We love to do it all. So. He's 3-0, which this guy says, which goes back to the original 2 games. Like, what the first 2 games were just maddening when you watch offensive, where they're just trying to run into brick walls. It didn't make, unless, once again, that's what they thought Buckner could do. So if they didn't think Buckner could run some of this stuff Pine's doing to the efficiency he's doing, and that's why they're 0-2. Which goes back to our talk, Mike. If he keeps doing this each and every week, we're going to have a fun conversation come December.
Pine's freaking balling. I mean, he just is. The Notre Dame passing attack with Buckner was, dare I say, just bad.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, that's going back to the Marshall game. They just wanted to go bombs away in Marshall, and they didn't complete any. In the Ohio State game was just survive and get to the fourth quarter. That's exactly what the game felt like. And in the rewatch I've done a few times, it was just survive, get to the fourth quarter. Oh my God, we're playing really good. We're holding CJ Stroud down. Obviously their wide receivers were a little banged up and brand new, and they got to the fourth quarter and they couldn't do anything because that crowd was going crazy and they had no energy. But hey, Pine, let's beat Stanford. Let's beat UNLV. Let's get to Clemson. Let's see him in the shootout with DJ, who's been throwing some ropes lately out there. So,
all right, Mr. Hyde. Well, that's going to do it for our show, folks. Please hit the thumbs up on this video before you get out of here. We love doing these YouTube shows. Ton of fun. Appreciate all the interaction, even if they drive us crazy from time to time. But Mike Goolsby show, 7 p.m. Eastern time Sunday. We'll have our normal, tons of YouTube coverage this upcoming week, as well as all of the coverage at blueandgold.com. Head over to the website, check out all of our content. We've already got some stories up on the site already. So yeah, $10 until the start of next football season. Heck of a deal there. So please head to the website and check it all out. Appreciate everyone for watching. And as always, we will catch you next time.